and that will be based on where our staff is in terms of getting into the museum, and we will let you know if something changes. But essentially, we're not going to ask our staff to come in from Potomac if it's really icy out there, and so we might decide to cancel class. Although I will say that because we have a number of people in the office who can kind of fill in, there are options in regards to using other staff to kind of keep the classes going. So the other thing to know is that Meredith McMahon, our executive director, will actually issue an email by 6:30 a.m. and she has all of your emails, so she'll send you an email and let you know if Seek is open, if Seek is closed, so you can always check your email. Occasionally we'll open late, and late for us means 9 a.m., which means that the C program will still go ahead as planned since we begin at 9:30. All right, I'm going to move on forward. So just to briefly go over our social media. So first, why we do social media. We do it to document and observe your child's growth and development, and that's really the Shutterfly part. It's also sort of to create community. It's to share with our family community, but it's also to share with our professional community. So we are active in posting some of the photos, and I know that we have some families who've chosen to be in our Do Not Photo list, and we take that very seriously. But also to understand that we don't post photos because we think your kids are cute, although we do think they're cute. We really post them more from a professional perspective and as a documentation of the type of learning that takes place here at Seek. And we ask you to be mindful that when you're taking photographs of your child, that you're also being thoughtful about the other children that you're getting in your photos. It might be that their caregivers do not want their photos published on other people's outlets. So you might just want to make sure you'd be like, hey, I got this great photo of, you and you, and do you mind if I post this beforehand? We just ask that you kind of check in with the caretakers. And then finally, we hope that you'll follow us. We work really hard on our channels, and we'd love to have you participate. Okay, any questions? Okay, all right. So these are just some of our real basic rules. I feel like we don't have a lot of rules, but we have a few. We do believe that we all have a role in educating the children. So we want to limit the phone use in the classroom to actually just taking photos of the children. So, occasionally there might be an emergency phone call. You need to step away from the program for a few minutes. Completely understandable. But overall, we really want the children to see an engaged and active community. So we ask that your phones are put away and that you're playing and talking and enjoying yourselves. And I think that just goes to engaging and participating in the community. So food is another thing that I would like to be thoughtful about because, technically we're not supposed to have food out in the galleries, and we are guests in the museums. So we really want to, honor and respect that policy. And I know that sometimes you can come out here and see folks eating. I mean, I've seen people eating in the lobby at Natural History, but we're really not supposed to do that. So we ask that we, set a really good example and not do that either. Occasionally we can have food in the Ripley Center, but we're going to keep that to special occasions, and that's really also a safety issue. We don't want children walking around with food in their mouths and then having a choking incident. While we're in the museums, and I know this probably, I'm not trying to belittle anybody, but I've had enough experiences working with families that not everybody knows our museum protocols here, and so I just always like to remind everyone that please don't touch the objects, please be really careful not to lean on the objects, even if they're pedestals. And because we are a group that has strollers and that there sometimes can be multiple caregivers, we want to be thoughtful about making sure that entryways are open and that we leave a pathway for visitors to walk past. So we often do that museum circle, and if we can just, just kind of be thoughtful about our bodies and where we are, it just helps, I think. I think it helps people accept us more being in the galleries, and it just makes everything go more smoothly. The other thing is we definitely want children to have adult hands while they're in the museums if they're not in the stroller. And that's just because, as a toddler, you're a 2-year-old, you are wanting to run and you're excited and you see something and you're just going to go for it. So when we have a child's hand, then that just helps make sure that we're keeping them safe, but also keeping the objects safe. And then in terms of circle, you'll notice that we are not ever going to tell your child that they have to stay seated in circle for the whole time. And Meredith will talk more about this. And so the language that we really like to use in regards to circle time is, feel free to move about as long as you're being safe. In a museum, we really want the child, if the child needs to move, that they have that adult hand with them. So sometimes you might need to step away and take a little walk, and that's okay, because we all need a break. Sometimes we need a movement break. All right, so we're just going to pull forward here to the next slide. Yes, is that it? Yeah. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Meredith now. So, Meredith, take it away.
Okay. So, I've written in my emails a ton, and I'm sure all of you have at least joined our Shutterfly site, but this is just another plug to download the app. And I know I hate downloading apps because I'm like, I'll never use this. But I do find the Shutterfly app very useful. Actually, the Shutterfly Share Site app, and the icon is on the screen. When you click on our share site, you'll be able to see the calendar, which says where we're meeting in the morning. So either Curious Junior or the Ripley Center. So if you ever forget, you can look. And then it also says where our museum outing is supposed to be, which can be really helpful if you maybe want to park where the class is supposed to end, or if you just want to know where we're going. So it just says the museum that we're attending. If you are running late or not able to come, send me an email or text the phone. Texting can be particularly helpful if you're running late and you're worried that we might not be in our classrooms to start. We can be in communication to tell you where we are. Another thing I just wanted to let everyone know is twice a year I will put out another sign up, just like this one that we did for the orientation, for caregiver, teacher, parent-teacher conferences. These I find to be pretty helpful. They're not mandatory, but we can talk about anything developmentally you want to know about your children. It's a really nice time for us to have a family, home exchange, school exchange. You can ask questions in a way that you're not really able to talk to me in class. I don't know. I end up getting pulled in a lot of different directions. So it can be hard to sit down and have a real conversation when we're in the middle of class, but sometimes we need to have those. We also oftentimes talk about plans for next year, so if you're thinking about preschools or things.
And I would say that we're happy available to meet no matter,
We're always available to meet. So particularly phone calls. I take phone calls sometimes throughout the year too, or meet in person, doesn't really matter, just what your schedule does. Let's see, I'm going to figure out how to do you. Nope. Got it. Okay, so for the classroom, you will find that we employ a variety of cues. One thing about the C class, it's great, it's so much fun, but there are a lot of transitions. We ask the kids to come into a classroom, get settled, play for a little bit, then they do this morning meeting